Hello and welcome to the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. My name is Rim. I'm an artist, a certified life coach and an NLP practitioner, and the creator of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative retreats. Passionate about celebrating joy and beauty in the everyday, especially when things are falling apart, I'm insatiably curious about human nature, and I look into the world with reverence, awe, and a sense of wonder. Tune in for stories exploring healing through creativity, art, embracing sensitivity, and navigating the subconscious mind. I'll talk about the struggles that highly sensitive and creative people face, and share my experiences, insights, and favorite tools along the way. I'm here to empower you to turn what we often deem to be a curse into your biggest gift. I believe that the more we create together, the more we heal the world. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. I'm so happy and grateful for you tuning in. Today's episode is about protecting your energy like a ninja as an HSP neurodivergent, as if your life depends on it, cause guess what? It does. So first I want to continue on the idea that I talked about last week, that we are the change and that we can reclaim our power. So basically what I meant is that the change is within us and it starts with us, with our energy, our vital life force. Now, I know that may sound a bit dramatic, but that's because it is. For highly sensitive, autistic, neurodivergent people in general, the energy spiral is real. It's not like we have tons and tons of energy that gets refilled continuously on its own. Okay, I'm not talking about those who are hyperactive, because I don't think that's totally the same dynamic here. But I'm sure that even hyperactive people, they can crash at times. So yes, let's say I'm talking about highly sensitive, neurodivergent people. The energy spiral is real. And when you feel depleted and spend a lot of your time processing stimuli and information and recovering, it's actually hard to master the energy for change, because change requires effort. Especially when you're a minority in a society that's frankly super harsh and, well, crazy. And a society that is valuing productivity, and effort, and always doing, and having. That can be a lot. That's why I think you really cannot afford to give your life force away to things, people, or even to good intentions that drain you. So this episode is about learning how to protect your energy, like your life depends on it, because it really does. So here are a few of my experiences this year that added up and made me notice how quickly I could get drained and tired, and how it impacted me much more than I thought. And yes, one thing is, okay, maybe it's because I'm getting older and I have less physical resistance. I mean, I'm in my 40s now, so I think that's a little bit different, of course. But also because I'm way more conscious about myself now and more intentional about how I lead my life. And also because I used to compensate so much before and mask so much and try to play into that life scenario that we need to achieve always more and do more. And that I think now, like I had so many burnout that I think like now my nervous system is really exhausted. But also I have my North Node in Cancer in the first house, and the first house is all about self. It's the energy of me first, and Cancer is the energy of nurturing, nourishment, taking care of. So a North Node Cancer in the first house would be all about learning to, for me, all about learning to put myself first, to put my needs, my emotional needs first. Of course, it's not the case for everyone listening to this podcast. We don't all have a North Node Cancer in the first house. Oh, and by the way, the North Node is what our soul tends to in this lifetime, what we're here to learn and to master. Not something that comes naturally to us. Actually, it doesn't. It's something we get to, but it's difficult to get there. It requires a lot of effort because we need to change, basically, to go to the opposite of the energy we naturally used to. And my natural energy, my South Node, is Capricorn. And Capricorn is all about effort, working hard, structure. So basically the opposite. Now, I know you're not, as I was saying, I know you're not, you don't all have your North Node Cancer in the first house, but as I always say, these are archetypes, and we have all the archetypes within us. It's just that some have more of that energy within, or it plays a more important role in our lives. But since we are all highly sensitive, I mean, I don't know if you're all highly sensitive people, but I suspect that if you listen to this podcast, you are. So you will also need, even if maybe that's not your soul's main journey, still learning to care of yourself is super important. And maybe this is something you can learn from me, since I've experienced this a lot. What I mean is I've done a lot of change and growth in that aspect. And I would learn, I think if there's something else that I need to learn, but it's not in my North Node, I could learn it from somebody else. Maybe I can learn it from you. If you have a North Node in Virgo, for example, in the second house, that might not be the main thing in my life, but it would still be useful for me to learn about it. That's what I mean. So anyway, that was a big digression. But let's go back to these experiences that added up this year and made me notice how little things could have such an impact. Because before I thought, okay, my burnout is more linked to the fact that I live in a huge city, or that I'm working for someone, I'm working in an office, and therefore it's because I have to deal with so many people, or the noise, the light, all of this, which of course it does. I mean, it's exhausting. It can be very much exhausting for us, HSP, neurodivergent, autistic people. But now I'm talking about I'm going to talk more about these little things that maybe we don't suspect. It can be so draining. So I talked last week about my improv class and how it ended in an unfortunate way. But really, if I'm being really honest with you, I felt drained in that class for a while. I think it started in November, December. and I started end of September. So only after 2 months, I was already drained, and I noticed it was on Sunday evening, and I noticed that I was feeling anxious after the class, even during the day before the class, but I thought that's normal because for me, getting out of the house often gives me anxiety, and doing something that requires efforts and being vulnerable and all of this and with other people, it's a little bit stressful. It's not that I don't want to do it, but I know it will require me energy, and I know that it will trigger my sensitivities at some point. But anyway, I noticed that especially in those classes, I was feeling very, very anxious. And after the class, I was feeling miserable. All my way back, I could not help but replay everything that had happened. And very often I was like, wow, this person was so rude, and that one, why did they say that? Why the teacher didn't see this little unfair thing here? Or why did I see all these details but nobody cares? Also, I would blame myself, like, why I didn't think about this? Why I didn't think about that? I could have done this better, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't sleep well on that night, and I would spiral on Monday. And when my Monday is crap, it's a bit difficult to continue well during the rest of the week. I would also rush myself on Monday thinking, oh, I have to start the week. I have a lot of things to do, a lot of projects and work to do. So I felt very rushed, but at the same time, I was not emotionally available for my work. And this could spiral into more shame and things. But anyway, I will talk about this after. So that's something that was clearly a sign that this place was not right for me. But I just thought, come on, it's just once a week and it's just a leisure, it's a hobby, there is no harm. It's okay. It took me a while to put two and two together. And I mean, there are other events that can be nice as well, that were very nice, but were very exhausting for me. So one was a friend visiting me for a few days. And of course, she came to visit me at a time I was very low, because it was just when that quarrel with the improv teacher, this discrimination, really unfair discrimination situation happened. So I was really at the low end of the wave. And I had intense PMS at that month. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so. But a good friend came visiting me, so I was really happy and it felt really good to be with her. It was a really joyful connection, but still it took me 3 or 4 days to recover from that, like energetically speaking. And then something else, like I went on a date and it was lovely. I could feel very comfortable and all of that, but at the end we worked and talked for 4 hours, but after that I was totally exhausted. I needed the rest of the day to recover for all of this stimulation. So even nice moments can require a lot of energetic recalibration. And another thing that could be really nice is my dog. Like I love my dog. Some of you may remember that I've adopted a dog last winter. So I took her here with me, of course. And she's quite young. She's 1 year and a half. So I've been really spending a lot of time training her, educating her. But it's been quite difficult. I mean, she's lovely, but it's not always easy. And I really pressured myself to do it right. I really wanted to give her the best education possible. And also, like when she would bark, it would make me feel very stressed and anxious that I would disturb the neighbors, which is something I don't like to do. And I remember that I was like, the little challenges I was experiencing with her were making me feel so anxious all the time. And it was so depleting for my energy that once I would go back home, it was like I would need 1 or 2 hours to recover from our walk. And then it was very difficult to focus on my work. I didn't have space or energy to make art at all. It was really weird. Like something I love to do and that is regulating for me and that I really enjoy doing. It's like my passion. What comes naturally to me, I was feeling really blocked to do it. And I realized that it was all these little things that I was doing, even though like I was doing, but I was not setting boundaries with those things. And it was draining me. I mean, it's not just about what we do, it's how it affects our energy field, our nervous system, our capacity to function afterwards. So the improv class was maybe something that was not right for me. But obviously the friend visiting me, the date, the dog, of course, these were things that were right for me. But I needed to set better boundaries for those things. And managing my expectations. So really, I came to notice these invisible costs that were happening because I was pushing too far, pushing myself too far, pushing my expectation too far, or maybe neglecting my needs too much. And that led, so these invisible costs were what? Overthinking, anxiety, low mood, insomnia, guilt, executive dysfunction. When frazzled, it's even more difficult to stick to planning, organizing, paying attention to what matters, making decisions, and regulating our emotions. For me, it's already a lot of a struggle to get dressed and go brush my teeth. Especially in winter, it's really a struggle doing these little things of daily life. But when I feel totally overwhelmed and burnt out and so anxious and I'm in this spiral, then it's totally insane. Like at some points when I was feeling very low, I think it could take me 4 hours or 5 hours after I get up to get dressed and brush my teeth, which is very uncomfortable because I hate not brushing my teeth. I cannot stand it. Like I'm the kind of person who will carry my forget my toothbrush somewhere when I'm going away for the day, just for the day, and I would need to brush my teeth. So it's really strange. It's like I really want to do it, I really need to do it, but some part of my brain collapses and prevents me from doing these things. And it was the same for work. I would not be able to start working on my artwork, on my online shop, on everything I need to do for hours and hours. And so, of course, as you can imagine, this can have some impact, like important impact in my life. So I think it's really important to remember that for us, neurodivergent HSP, it's never just what's on the surface. Like an evening out is not just a few hours out. It's all the hours of mental and emotional preparation before, and all the time of processing recovery afterwards. And then when you tie this to sensory mental overload, then it can be a lot. And here I'd like to make a little precision that I can only speak from the experience of being both autistic and HSP. So I don't know if those who are just HSPs experience as much overload. I know they do experience a lot of overload, but I don't know if it's that intense. So I would say take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And there is another element that I can add to the overwhelm. It's this wanting to be good and doing the right thing that many of us share. So we want to do it all, or we want to be, I think, especially women, or those who identify as women, because we're kind of ingrained since our childhood to make efforts and to be good at many, many things and to pay attention to many, many things, or to be responsible to many, many things and the well-being of others and all of that, and that everything is organized well. And I want to say sometimes it can be really the wrong thing for your body. So the biggest lesson for me was rest is productive, boundaries are loving, and saying no is one of the biggest gifts you can give to yourself, because it can help you to find your energy back, to nurture your energy. And I know it's not the first time I said that, and it's not new to me, but I thought before, if I say no to jobs that don't satisfy me, or if I say no to relationships that don't satisfy me, then I'm okay. And I kind of had forgotten that I can also get carried away by myself, by those whom I love, and by like taking care of my dog, for example, which may sound like, I know, I mean, I would guess everyone could say, oh yes, it's a lot of effort, but for me it felt like it's not effort. It's like I'm sorry, I love her, but I really felt like she was like, taking care of her was almost annihilating me, like my energy. It made me so moody and brooding. It was really, of course, now it's much better. I persevered, and I'm glad I did, because now she's made a lot of effort, and I worked on myself a lot so that I would not be as anxious, and then so that I could trust her more. And the more I trust her, the better she gets, the more progress she makes. So all in all, it was good to realize that I had to change. Like I had to create limits that honored my energy. And I'm going to be a bit specific. When I first came here with her, I really wanted her to have the best life possible. So I wanted to take her for long walks every day, several long walks every day. I wanted to make sure she has minimum a certain amount of walk, like 240 minutes per day. I was set on that number. And, sometimes as an autistic person, I can have quite rigid thinking. So I was blocked on that. And I wanted her to go to the park to meet with dog friends, so she would, be very socialized. And then I wanted her to have different walks every week, ideally every day. But then I realized quickly that's not possible. But I would drive her here and there a lot during the week, so that she can go to a park like this, another park like that. So in one there are flowers, in one there are trees, in one there is grass, blah, 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 blah. All kind of things. And it was also for me, because I love to experience new settings and stuff, and discovering new places. But that was too extreme, and it was too much. So I decided to stop my nonsense and to do less of that, and to be less, to be less rigid about my criteria, and be more flexible, which is not easy. I understand that. It's not easy for us, but we can get there, and I'm gonna explain more about how to do. Anyway, so as I was saying, so saying no to myself, saying no to my dog, saying no to other friends. Like after I had this date, I had to say no. I cannot speak anymore for 2 days. I need 1.5 days on my own little bubble, and I don't want interactions with other humans because I need to care for myself. And that was great. After that, I felt much better and I had energy again. And that leads me to the last point, which is rest, which is not lazy and it's really intelligent. And when you're rested and when you take time for rest, then your nervous system can get regulated, and then you can function much better, and then you can have space to do the things that actually matter a lot for you. And you can partake again in your social life, or in creating things in the world. So I would say really to think of recovery as a strategy, to actually plan recovery into your schedule. Like don't let it be an afterthought. If you want to have a weekly planning or daily planning, like make sure to plan recovery time before you plan all the rest. If you are creative and you're very driven and you have a lot of ideas and maybe you want to do a lot of things, you might be tempted. Maybe you're like me and you tend to schedule a lot of things and think, oh, I want to do this and that and this and that and this and that. And then, of course, you cannot do it. And then this makes you even more overwhelmed. And somehow the things that we really want to do get skipped. So that's not something, like, I think it's not helpful for us. But if we plan recovery and time for the things that really matter for us, then we know it's a priority. And so being clear about your priorities is key. For me, at this time of my life, my priorities are my emotional well-being and making art, really. That's the most important. And it took me many years to get to two things. But I'm glad I finally did, because before I was all over the place because I had too many priorities, and that was so overwhelming and tiring and not good for my mental health. So here are some examples of what it looks like for me now. I plan a free Monday. For me, Monday is the moon day, the day of the moon, and it's the day I really take care of myself. I sleep more. I have a very leisurely rhythm. I take my time. I do longer meditation. I do some journaling. Like, I don't like to journal every day, like a lot of journaling every day, but on Monday I like to do it. And now that I know I'm only gonna do it on Monday, it doesn't feel like a punishment anymore. It doesn't feel like a chore. And I enjoy it much more because I know, because before I was forcing myself to journal every day for a certain set of time. And after a while, it felt like so dreadful. And then because I'm kind of all or nothing person, I would just give up and not do it for another year or 6 months or a year until I feel so guilty that I tell myself, okay, I'm going to do it again. And then I would go back to the same cycle. So now I thought enough is enough. I'm going to stop. I'm going to give it 1 day, and even not the whole day, just 1 hour. If I have time, 1 hour. And now it doesn't feel like a punishment. It feels like something I want to do and I look forward to do. And because I have time for it, I don't need to do it in a hurry, so I'm not stressed. And I can have my setting with candles and burn some incense, and I take a hot bath before and all of that, and it's nice. And then after that, I have so much more energy for the rest of the week. Another thing I've been doing is doing the same walk with my dog without guilt. I'm not forcing myself, but for now, I feel like I really need to do the same walk and don't use my car. And I'm enjoying it. I'm allowing myself to do it without any guilt. Another thing is to release the pressure during my day in telling myself I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. So trying to remove the should and taking regular breaks, trying to move more slowly. And also an important point is when you really take care of your emotional needs and your energy, your nervous system feels much safer and it's much easier to heal if you have any trauma, which I suspect you do, because we kind of, all of us have, especially as highly sensitive neurodivergent people, we are more prone to keep trauma in our bodies. And also, when our nervous system feels safe, it's much easier to access our intuition and it's much easier to take creative risks and doing the things that we want to, that we love to do, but that we dread because maybe it's a bit uncomfortable. It requires us to step out of our stepping zone. It requires us to step out of our comfort zone. And being vulnerable and all of that. I think it also, I found when I'm rested more and I feel much better in my energy, I can have better conversation with people. I can be more authentic, more direct. I have like what I mean is I have a better communication style and I'm less, I can be less in the defensive and be more about like, okay, I take my time to respond. I can analyze more quietly what I feel and what this person is telling me. I don't feel rushed to respond right away, you know, which in turn gives me more energy. Like I keep more of my energy to do the things that actually matter to me, like my art, this podcast, for example. You know, the things that are really important, and to have to be present with the people who are important for me as well, because this is also a key point to nurture the important relationships in our lives. Oh, I forgot another point. I think it helps me to be more aware of my body and of the red flags that I encounter in different situations. So anyway, how to start? You might ask me. And here are some practical tools. So after plan recovery into your schedule, which is actually the first tool, the second tool is being clear about your priorities. And then third tool is track what drains you and what restores you. So try to really pay attention on how you feel in a certain situation, or what you're doing, and what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what takes your life force away, what kind of fills your cup. That's important because then you will have clues on what to do less of and what to do more of. Then don't rationalize discomfort. Believe your body. Not doing things just because I should make an effort. That's really important. Remember my experience in my improv class. I didn't feel good at all, but I rationalized it. I thought, I just should make an effort. Nobody's perfect, which is true. Nobody's perfect. It's okay, but you don't have to force yourself to be with people who are not right for you, who don't validate you, who don't respect you, who don't see you. You know, people who drain you, really. We don't, especially if it's a hobby. We already have a lot to deal with at work or with family or all of these things. Why, for the things that we have more, I think it's really important with family and work to protect ourselves too, but sometimes I understand it's more difficult to deal with these things. Like we have less control over that. But for the rest, I think it's even more important to be really more radical for our sake. Another point, say no early, not just when you hit a wall. So you can tell people in your life, for example, I would love to do that, or I would love to help you, but I can't right now. I'm tired. I need to recharge. I need to recover. I need to take it slowly for now, for example. Like, don't wait when it's too late. And that leads me to the other point, which is rest before you earn it. I used to be like this. Like, I thought I need to earn my rest. If I want to sit on my couch doing nothing, I need to make sure that I've done a lot of things before so that I deserved it, And no, that's bullshit. You deserve rest. It's like the most important thing we can do in our lives is rest. And finally, one of the most helpful tools I found that helps, to start to build better boundaries when you're not so used to that is a list of questions by author Debbie Ford. This really helped me to stop justifying the discomfort I was feeling and start getting clear on what I needed. Okay, so let me read them to you now, and I invite you to feel into each one and even write them down for journaling or pondering on later on. Okay, so Debbie Ford's 10 questions to help you set boundaries. 1. Will this choice, event, situation, relationship propel me toward an inspiring future, or will it keep me stuck in the past? 2. Will this choice, event, situation, relationship, bring me long-term fulfillment, or will it bring me short-term gratification? 3. Am I standing in my power, or am I trying to please another? 4. Am I looking for what's right, or am I looking for what's wrong? And I have to add something. I think it's okay to look for what's wrong. It's important to notice what's wrong within you, how negative you feel, that's what I mean, or how much discomfort you feel, and all of that, because this will give you cues. That's what I was saying earlier on. Basically, what drains you, what frustrates you, maybe you can do less of it. Withdraw from that situation. And that will give you time and space and energy to focus on what's right. Okay, so let's continue. 5. Will this choice add to my life force, or will it rob me of my energy? Okay, well, it's a little bit the same as what I was just saying. Oopsie. 6. Will I use this situation as a catalyst to grow and evolve, or will I use it to beat myself up? Like for me, for example, this improv thing was really painful, and I felt a bit stupid that I ignored my intuition or my feelings, my sensation for all these months. And now I realize it's okay. I needed that lesson to learn and to finally say no. Now I tell you that I'm much, much, much more aware on how people make me feel, how a room or a group makes me feel. And I have to say, I think it takes time to practice, because I don't know about people who just have ADHD, but when you're autistic and highly sensitive, you can have so many sensations and feelings and emotions coming to you that it's not always easy to untangle them and to know exactly why you feel that. So it can take some time and practice to be a good witness and a good translator of what's going on inside of our inner experience. Okay, let's continue. 7. Does this choice empower me, or does it disempower me? And when I say choice, it can also be an event, a situation, relationship, but it's all kind of a choice, choosing to do it. 8. Is this an act of self-love, or is it an act of self-sabotage? I would say self-sabotage or abandonment, self-abandonment. 9. Is this an act of faith, or is it an act of fear? And 10. Am I honoring my true self, or am I trying to fit in? These questions are not about being harsh or controlling. They're really about getting honest, kind, and deeply aligned with yourself. Setting a boundary doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be a quiet, loving act of self-respect. Even just answering these questions for one situation in your life, like a social plan, a work project, or even how you walk your dog, can shift everything. And you even don't need to ask all of these questions at once. Just take the one that resonates the most. So to end this episode, I really want to insist on the fact that whether it's an event, a friendship, a date, or even a daily walk, it's okay to do less. It's okay to choose what nourishes you, not what looks good on paper. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's sacred, and you're allowed to build your life around your nervous system and needs, so that it can be a life that you actually love, that really makes you happy, and that you can see progress towards your dreams, your hopes, and that where you can actually create and making the things you love. Because really, for a creative person, not having time for our creativity it's one of the most horrible feelings. It's so frustrating. If this resonates and you're craving deeper support in honoring your energy, setting soul-aligned boundaries, and reconnecting with your creative self, my spiritual mentorship might be the safe space you've been looking for. If that's the case, you're warmly invited to reach out. I'd love to walk this path with you. That's it for today. See you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if it has inspired you, please share it around you. Also, if you feel called to it, please subscribe to the podcast and leave me a review. It really helps to spread the word out. all your questions are welcome. You can send them to me on Instagram at rim.creativeenergy.com or email me via my website rimcreativeenergy.com, and don't worry, I'll share in the show notes exactly where to find me. Until next time, sending you loving creative energy.